Sid Show.
Guaranteed to be enormously successful.
It's about truth, the damn truth, New York's truth, the truth behind the BS. For New York, nothing at all in between. This is Bernard McGurk.
So Bernie.
This is Sid Rosenberg.
The one and only Sid.
Live, local, on it.
You never know what's going to happen.
Exclusively.
Bernie and Sid.
77 WABC.
Get out the way. This has nothing to do with the guy that just was on before us. Get out the way. Here comes the Bernie and Sid Show at 10:07 on your steamy hot Thursday morning right here on legendary 77 WABC.
This is Trump's campaign song.
Could be. Yo, bitch, get out the way. Could be. Which would be right up his alley, especially the way it'll be perfect for Donald. Not a bad idea.
He should open the debates with this.
I'm going to send it to him.
Maybe that kid trying to climb up his building yesterday was trying to get him that message. I'm not sure. We still don't know what he was trying to tell Donald Trump, do we?
I think the kid was a little off.
No.
He's certifiable.
No, I didn't see that. Yeah. No, I didn't see that.
As a matter of fact, we have audio of his explanation. He posted some. I
saw it on
video.
YouTube. Yeah,
it's
on YouTube.
Really not worth playing. He's just a nut job.
He's a complete nut job.
So you spent the cable news. They all spent 3-4 hours in the local New York stations, and for what?
Well, I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. It was gripping because.
And you know why?
Why?
I'll tell you why. Because they were waiting for him to fall off.
Of course. That's what I was waiting for.
I remember as a kid in the projects, you'd have people up on the roof. Mm-hmm. The police would be surrounding the building. Somebody is threatening to jump.
Sure.
People would all be crowding around. Jump!
That's right.
They'd be chanting.
Yeah. No, not yesterday. They're actually rooting for the kid, believe it or not. But I couldn't stop watching just because of what you're talking about. And I had to put myself through some of the worst. And I hate saying this because a lot of these folks are guests on our show and they're your friends at Fox, but it just so happened it came on during the 5, and all of a sudden, folks like Kimberly Guilfoyle and Eric Bowling, and especially Gutfeld and Shepard Smith were forced to go off script about Clinton's emails, and now all of a sudden give us live play-by-play of this guy climbing up the building. And again, I hate to say, it was some of the worst, lamest television. I know you love Greg. I don't know who told Greg that he's the next Richard Pryor, but they actually gave him a microphone to walk into studio with Shepard Smith to give him more airtime. It was one lame joke attempt after another. It was awful.
Why don't you just watch MSNBC?
I do all morning long.
Why are you going to be busting on my people?
Because I like the 5. When they're talking about stuff, they know what they're talking about.
The good news is that you are a fan of the show.
Yes.
But they didn't handle the breaking news yesterday.
They're not spontaneous. Come on, man. They needed you and I on that set desperately.
Mercifully, I slept all afternoon through I didn't have to waste my time. The 4 hours you'll never get back of your life.
It was really like 2.5 hours, but that's true.
Well, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, even at dinner last night, was sitting around me, Ava, Gabe, and Gabe's like, Daddy, is he going to fall? I'm like, you can only hope so, and it was great.
Keep hope alive.
Yeah. But, on a serious note, crazy or not, this guy is obviously crazy, but what he was doing is not easy.
No, he's got a talent. He really does.
And it takes a heck of a lot of prepreration.
And the onions. You kidding me?
Absolutely.
I mean, I can't even look off a 7th floor terrace without
either could I. Either could
my
I.
Knees knocking.
And I've tried. I remember when I first lived in New York City. We lived in Chelsea, and we were members of Chelsea Piers, where you and I fought, by the way. And that was the first time they had those rock climbing walls, which maybe went up. I don't know how many feet. It wasn't very high, but even those I found difficult. To scale a building like that is amazing.
Yes. Well. Look, it all ended well in the NYPD.
Very
hats
brave.
off to those
yes.
Once again.
The Wolf Blitzer, I did change the channel at one point just because I figured I wanted to keep everybody here updated. So I went to Wolf Blitzer. He's got a guy on, some guy who's like a police. I don't know what he was. He was like a macha on this stuff, a maven. So the cops are like right next to the guy.
I love when you speak Yiddish.
Thank you. And the guy goes, listen to me, they're not going to grab him, they're not going to touch him, because if, God forbid, they do, he may pull them out the window, so they're not going to do it. 2 seconds later, they grab the guy and pull him into the window. Right there on CNN, Wolf Blitzer has an expert who 2 seconds before crapped the bed.
Crapped the bed?
Yes. These are the experts. This is big-time television.
Look, they were a little rough with the guy, don't you think?
They should have beat his face in. What do you mean rough? He could have killed somebody.
They were rough.
He's impersonating CNN.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, did they have body cameras on?
See what you're doing.
They hate
Take
Hillary.
it easy. The way they grabbed him, it was unnecessary on their part. These brutal cops.
God.
They did what they had to do, and hats off to them.
It was very brave. No?
I think so.
And not easy either to grab the guy like that. One of those guys was really strong. To grab the guy like that and pull him through the window. Those guys ought to be very, very strong.
Didn't you want to see the NYPD shake him, like spit on him and curse at him?
I wanted to see somebody shoot him at one point with a dart gun, at least a tranquilizer. Shoot him in the ass with a tranquilizer gun and then pull him inside.
Now, that would have been if he fell and then he was saved by sort of the tether, whatever he was tethered to, and he just hung there and swung for a while.
That would have been funny.
That would have been a nice ending.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
We wouldn't want to see him splatter on
No.
Fifth Avenue.
Well, that wasn't going to happen. They had those, those big mats like trampolines underneath him. He would have fallen. He would have bounced right back up to the 22nd floor.
Like the naked Times Square guy, he missed the mat.
He did.
He fell on the concrete.
You're right.
So
That's stupid.
you idiot.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but
I got to tell you, by the second hour, I was hoping they would throw Shepard Smith out the window and leave that poor bastard climbing the wall.
Hey, as though this campaign needed another circus-like incident.
Well, this is Trump's fault.
I guess you could say that.
Why not? It's his building.
Why is it his fault? It's just, we have John Bongino coming up.
Joe
here.
Beningo? John Bon Jovi?
Joe Beningo. He's a former Secret Service guy himself. He's running for Congress down in Florida. He got into a big fight on CNN with Don Lemon, who Trump tweeted out as stupid as a rock.
Yeah.
He's coming out with... Where was the
Donald Trump?
The Secret Service? Yeah. Why is that racist, Sid?
Because Don Lemon's a black guy.
I mean, you see, that's what I'm saying. That's what
I said that because I knew it would. I said that because I do think he's a racist.
That's the first thing that comes
but
to
I do
your
think he's a racist anyway. But I knew that would bother you.
Lemon is no rocket scientist.
What?
He's no Juan Williams.
He went to Harvard, my friend. Harvard.
On visiting day.
Yeah, that's what.
Oh, well, that's so I was there last
visit
Saturday.
His boyfriend. What? So anyway, he's going to come. Where was the CIA? This was a security. The Secret Service. This was a security breach. This was because you had the Republican nominee who lives there.
Wasn't he in Virginia?
Okay, but his family is there.
They were there.
This is where they live. This is their residence.
Oh well, they're in the bag with
How
Hillary.
the hell did the guy get out on the 4th floor terrace and make his way up the building? How did that happen? This building should be under surveillance.
Because they're all in the bag for Hillary. They want Donald Trump to get, or his family, or somebody to get hurt. It's obvious.
Clearly.
The
Obama administration. The fix is in. The system is rigged.
Here's my question. You got 1 billion people over there on 56th Street. It's not a quiet area. How does a guy with 4 huge suction cups and a knapsack make his way to the 5th floor and then get up a story or two before somebody goes, hey, I think somebody's climbing up the building.
That's what we'll ask Bongino.
I mean, Jesus.
About this. But in the meantime...
Makes you worry about this place. I mean, anybody can walk in any place, anytime. Shaquille O'Neal walked into the White House twice.
Shaquille O'Neal did.
Yes. And he's not exactly somebody who's going to sneak through.
Yeah, but he's a police officer, right?
That's a good point, yeah.
He's got a badge.
He's a sheriff and all that, yeah.
Anyway, so look, let's get back to politics. Yesterday, Donald Trump was hitting Hillary Clinton for having the terrorist, the father of the terrorist behind her in an audience. He had a prime seat. He was right there on camera as she's talking about the massacre. The father's right behind her. So Trump says this about her. Take a listen.
Wasn't it terrible when the father of the animal that killed the wonderful people in Orlando was sitting with a big smile on his face right behind Hillary Clinton? And by the way, including a lot of the people here, how many of you people know me? A lot of you people know me, right? When you get those seats, you sort of know the campaign. So when she said, well, we didn't know, he knew, they knew.
So who was sitting behind Donald Trump at that very moment?
Omar Mateen's father?
No, this disgraced former congressman from Florida, Mark Foley.
Oh, yes, Mark Foley. That's right.
Who had he had to resign because he was sending sexually explicit instant messages to young interns.
Pedophilia. Guys, too. I think it was gay pedophilia.
Yes, right, exactly. Yeah. So what the reason why he became a Trump supporter is he heard that Trump wants to put minors to work and he misconstrued the whole thing. But still, it was embarrassing for Trump. That's why.
Oh God!
Oh God, Bernie.
He wants to.
That's why you needed to be on the set yesterday. That's why you would have been perfect on the set when this guy was scaling the wall. But it is funny and ironic that here he is bashing her for Omar Mateen's father being in the audience.
She knew.
He's got Foley, who, no, he didn't kill 49 people, obviously, but certainly, like you said, very, very embarrassing for Donald as well.
I would say, but still, the whole thing has been blown out of proportion. This thing about the Second Amendment. You have in the past, you've had Hillary Clinton in May of 2008. She said she was being urged to get out of the race. Obama was winning, and she said, well, this is what she said.
I'm not here to repeal the Second Amendment. I'm not here to take away your guns. I just don't want you to be shot by someone who shouldn't have a gun in the first place.
Yeah, that's not.
What's so wrong about that?
But there's the Hillary on the assassination from 2008.
Oh, the Kennedy thing.
Yeah, we'll get it. So in the meantime, Joe Biden, while you get that, played Joe Biden in 2008. He was also in the primary. He was running against Obama and Hillary, and he was talking to Obama about the Second Amendment, and Joe Biden said this.
I guarantee you, Barack Obama ain't taking my shotguns, so don't buy that malarkey. Don't buy that malarkey. They're gonna start peddling that to you. I got two. If he tries to fool my Beretta, he's got a problem.
Listen to that.
I agree with
Where's
him.
the outrage?
There shouldn't be an outrage.
And John Kerry, he lost to President Bush in 2004.
Yeah.
He lost in 2004.
I understand that.
He goes on Bill Maher's show right afterward and says this.
But what'd you get her this year for her birthday?
Actually, we ran away to a wonderful retreat in Vermont, and that was our sort of getaway.
You could have went to New Hampshire and killed two birds with one stone.
See what he did?
Could have gone to 1600 Pennsylvania and killed the real bird with one stone.
Where's the outrage?
Wow,
By the way, he is Obama's Secretary of State right now. He succeeded Hillary.
One of the worst.
He succeeded Hillary Clinton.
Worse than Hillary.
And they're all mad at Trump for they misconstrue try to make something out of nothing. And these guys were explicit. And Hillary also, if we had the clip, she was explicit back in 2008 as well.
I don't care about 2008. You guys keep going back to that. Obama, what he said about Hillary Clinton. Obama said she couldn't lead. Of course, he was running against her in 2008.
It's about
it doesn't matter.
The manufactured anger.
Yeah, but it's on both sides. In other words, when Donald Trump says stupid things and offensive things, which he does almost every single day, it doesn't go away because you're right, because Hillary Clinton said something bad, or Barack Obama, or John Kerry, or Joe Biden, or anybody. And that's part of the problem with this whole deal here is that people want to defend Donald Trump by bringing up what other people say. It doesn't matter what they say. And they're both guilty. They're both guilty.
While we're on the topic, this is her in May of 2008 when she was urged to get out of the race because Obama was way ahead. This is what she said.
My husband did not wrap up the nomination in 1992 until he won the California primary somewhere in the middle of June. Right? We all remember Bobby Kennedy was assassinated in June in California.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
It could happen to Obama, right?
But I don't think she was going there either. And I've told you, I think Donald Trump is being, it's not right what he's gone through the last couple of days, but he has certainly said some things along the way that he deserves to get bashed for. And what Hillary says, or Obama says, or Biden said, doesn't matter.
At least we're straight. We know that we see hypocrisy on display.
But it's both sides, though. Because
I didn't say it wasn't.
I know.
I'm just pointing out in this case, in this instance.
But that's why
this is conspicuous double standard.
Fair.
And
fair.
It needs to be addressed, I think.
But it doesn't matter because, and I tweeted this yesterday, yes, there's a media bias. I'm going to tell you're right. There's a media bias. They're out to get Trump. I think all of that is true. But he knows that going in. That's the game. So you can bitch about it, cry about it, whine about it, and lose by 22 points come November. Or you can step up and run a halfway decent campaign, which he has not done. I don't care what he did against those 16 people in the GOP race. He has run a lousy campaign here against Hillary as well. Stop bitching about the process and make something happen.
We're going to have to punch through the media.
Right.
By the way, this heat wave is fantastic.
Oh, I hate it.
It is the best.
You like it?
It's great.
Yeah, because you don't take the train.
It's going to be like 4, 5, 6 days.
You don't take the train. I took my underwear off yesterday. It was like I just took it out of a swimming pool.
Is that what that smell was?
Oh my God, my balls they were wet for like 4 hours yesterday. I had swamp ass. I have like a rash on the inside of my tushy. It's terrible.
I will say that some of the streets with the garbage on them, they stinks. Speaking of, it smells like Rosie O'Donnell's ass. I mean, and that is not pleasant. Some of the streets. But look, it's summertime. It's great. People are walking around the streets half naked.
No, people are dying. They're dying. They're literally dying. And you're right. What is the color? I walked 2 blocks to the train up to 32nd and 6th, and every couple of feet you see like a little bit of water in the street. You know this, Bernard. What is the color of that water? It stinks.
It's the same color of the pool down in Rio, which is.
Which had algae. It was green.
It's funky green. You could see the mosquitoes just descending on it. It's what a disaster down there. 1-800-848-9222. Bernie and Sid back after this.
The Bernie and Sid Show.
It's fun to listen to.
800-848-WABC.
There could be an explosion at any time.
Get in. Get Truth. 77 WABC.
Back on Bernie and Sid on 77 WABC.
One of my favorite songs, Our Country by John Mellencamp. Quickly before you get to the phones, if you think this race doesn't affect people at home, you're somewhere between naive and stupid and closer to the latter. You do realize that John Mellencamp and Christy Brinkley just broke up, basically over Trump and Clinton.
Essentially, according to Cindy Adams, right?
Yes. Cindy Adams, that's money. That is money. That, of course, Christy is a Hampton socialite, a Hillary supporter, all of her friends. And Mellencamp walks in, starts yelling like Donald Trump and embarrasses her. And she's like, enough of you. That's it. We're done.
Well, he's like some rube from Indiana.
Right.
It's like French Lick, Indiana. I think he's neighbors
with
Larry Bird. Larry Bird, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't belong in the Hamptons. And she's the uptown girl. By the way, the picture in the paper this morning, this woman, 60-something years old.
She looks unbelievable.
Are you kidding me?
And he looks terrible.
Yeah, he's actually essentially he's like a goober.
He's a redneck goober who can sing, but he's a good singer.
So they broke up, and he still chain smokes. I mean, he's really old.
He's a mess. He's had heart attacks and all kinds. He was married to a model before her.
Mess, right?
Yeah, but essentially the Post is saying they broke up because she's Hillary, he's Trump, and he got too annoying. Which is true, by the way. You Trump supporters.
Maybe she was too annoying.
No,
and he dumped her.
Even Rudy Giuliani admitted. There's no bigger supporter of Trump than Rudy. He's become a clown. Even he admitted that Trump supporters are a bit over the top. Admitted it.
And the Hillary Sanders supporters who engaged like in violence, breaking people's noses and stuff. Were they not over the top?
Well, that was one day. Stop. You're funny.
Yes, it's gotten rancorous, to say the least.
Very good word.
It's just, and again, I've said it before, give us a moratorium until after Labor Day, please. Let us enjoy August. Can you stop? Both of you agree to a ceasefire?
Right.
For 3, because
if they could do it in Syria, can't they do it here in the United States?
You would think.
When's the first debate again? Well, we're going to be there at Hofstra, right? The first debate we're there.
The end of September.
September
at
26th, yes.
That's right. We'll be there. But
they should shut this whole thing off until like today, Hillary's going to make an economic speech. She's going to bash Trump. And for what it's worth, and again, you folks can rip me all you want. I happen to think I'm one of the most rational people in the media when it comes to this race because I defend both and I criticize both. I thought Donald Trump's speech on Monday was very good. Very good. And if he sticks to that, he's got a chance. Right now, he's got no chance. If he sticks to that, he's got a chance. I think Hillary has to come up good today or he beats her.
You contradict yourself, though. You say he has no chance, but if he does this, he has a chance. So
essentially, but I said to him, if he continues on the path he's going, he's got no chance. If he does what he did Monday, he's got a chance.
And he's going to adjust. He certainly
No, he's not. He has not pivoted yet. It took him one day off of a very good economic speech on Monday. It took the idiot one day to screw it up. One day.
How about this dude on the subway smoking crack?
I know that guy.
Nice picture.
I know that guy. His name is Smoove. Smoov. Smoove.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm not kidding. He's from...
he's your boy.
Yeah, from Kew Gardens. They call him Smoove.
Smooth with a V.
With a V. Can't say
no doubt.
No, he says Smoove. Yeah.
There's de Blasio's New York City. 1-800-848-9222.
Nothing like taking the train.
Bernie and Sid back after Known with the News.
Bernie and Sid on demand.
You never know what's going to happen.
The WABC radio app. Download it now. Upload the BS. 77 WABC.
Last day of the rest of my life. I wish I would have known because I didn't kiss my mama goodbye. I didn't tell her that I loved her, how much I cared. I thank my pops for all the talks and all the wisdom he shared. Unaware, I just did what I always do. Every day the same routine.
Because Dan Bongino's coming up in about 20 minutes, next hour. He was very good going after Don Lemon on CNN a couple of nights ago, defending Donald Trump. And, of course, you guys do know that on this show, both of us have defended Donald Trump. Neither one of us thought that his Second Amendment comments was a plea to go out and assassinate Hillary Clinton. It's ridiculous, in fact.
But there was a whiff of blood in the air.
Yes, there was.
Hey, Noam's leaving. Noam was going to tell us how to swim in the ocean.
Yeah, how do you do that, Noam? What's the secret?
We're in a heat wave,
right?
And a lot of people go into the ocean. Apparently, down the Jersey Shore, a lot of people in distress.
Saves.
100 saves.
Yeah.
And so the way to avoid getting caught in a riptide.
So you're supposed to swim parallel to the sand if you get caught in a riptide.
Right.
Which I don't know how you remember that if you get caught in, but that's what you're supposed to do. There's 7 steps they actually give you that you're supposed to do if you get caught in a riptide, but I think panic sets in that you're not going to remember.
Well, that's the whole thing is don't panic. That's all. Remember that. Don't panic. Just tread water. You're not going to go under. You're not going to go under. They'll come and get you. That's all you need. I used to be a lifeguard, certified lifeguard.
Yeah, that was after he went to med school.
No, I swear.
This guy's done. He's the Forrest Gump of radio. There's nothing he hasn't done.
I swear, this is true.
You know, he defended John Gotti a couple of times too. It's incredible.
Red Cross certified lifeguard up in Yonkers, Tibbetts Park, Westchester County Park.
Yeah,
a pool the size of a city block here in New York City. But on the weekends, the pool would look like
you can't move.
It would look like a pool in Rio. I mean, you'd have turds and diapers. The pool was huge, but so I'm a certified was a certified lifeguard. In fact, back in those days, they made us wear these little tidy
the red ones, like the Baywatch shorts.
Orange. They were actually orange.
Oh, nice.
Nothing to the imagination. If you had a baby carrot, everybody knew it. If it was a knockwurst, all the better. It took a while to get used to.
Yeah.
But after a while, it was kind of liberating.
Did you do good? I mean, did you a lot of chicks, a lot of dating?
Are you kidding me?
A lot of ass from
fantastic.
That, right? Oh, I'm sure. Look at you. Huh? Look at you.
The rain days were the best.
Oh, my God. I can imagine the amount of chicks that just acted like they were drowning so Bernard McGurk can jump in and save them.
No, the clientele was not the attraction.
No, not great, right?
Tibbetts Park. But it was a family place.
Sure.
You know, I mean, families from the city of Yonkers would come and they get a little wild on the weekends. But it was a good time. So anyway, I was a certified lifeguard.
Right.
So all I'm saying is, I've saved lives in the pool.
You have.
I've given mouth to mouth.
Of course. Even at the pool.
But having nothing to do with being a lifeguard, right? So don't panic. So thank you, Noam, for that.
It's kind of like Barack Obama. He tells you how many African Americans are in jail. Then he forgets to tell you how many African Americans actually commit crimes. Bernard saved lives, and many died too.
I swear to you, this is a true story. One time, this big fat guy, he's actually in the bottom of the pool, 9 feet of water. He's down there. Somebody had to point it out. The lifeguards missed it. I don't know who was up. We all run down, pull the fat guy out of the water, and he's sitting there. We got him. He's laying there like a seal, like a beluga whale, on his back. And then all of a sudden, before we administer mouth to mouth, he barfs. And barf starts coming out of his mouth, but he's still unconscious. Right. So nobody wants to give him mouth to mouth.
Right.
So we put the oxygen tank, the mouthpiece of the oxygen tank on him and blasted him with the air and just forced the air into his lungs. And
he lived.
And he was revived. But nobody would put their mouth. Now they have these mouth guards that you can put on.
Yeah.
But back then it was like, I'm not doing it.
That's a great story. And now look, now he's running the board here. It's
True story.
Crash.
And he got a lot lighter. He's been out of the sun apparently for the last 30 years. That was back in the 80s.
Sure.
So anyway, so don't panic, folks.
Don't panic.
We won't panic.
Right. Rush the shooter, like Ben Carson says.
And
don't
bring
panic.
back the tidy
whitey, the tidy oranges.
And Bernie's a hero. I guess we learned that too. Save someone's life.
I just happened to be there.
Right.
A good time. So anyway, thank you, Noam, for that PSA.
Excellent stuff, Noam.
We're going to save lives. 1-800-848-9222. I think we're going to go to phone calls.
Yeah,
right
take a
now.
couple. Yeah, why not?
Let's go to you select.
Let's go to my friend. This is my friend.
Yeah,
I like her.
They won't want to piss on Sid here.
I happen to like this lady. I enjoy her passion, and that is Judy from Brooklyn. Good morning, Judy.
Hi, you know something, guys? When I called, it was like half hour before. And then there's this whole comedy show, and I feel so stupid to say what I want to say.
No, go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Listen,
It's okay.
We're all over.
We do that on purpose. We want to try to minimize the anger, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's not anger, it's frustration, okay? Yeah. But I'm going back to, I'm hearing, what Donald said, and he said, and he said. Let me tell you something, guys. Action speaks louder than words. And if you take a look at Hillary and all of her actions or inactions or both, she is a has-been. She's a definite failure. She's a sellout to our security. She's bought by half of the Middle East with millions and millions in her private Clinton Foundation account.
Hey, yeah, did you see that in the New York Post today? The Clinton Foundation quid pro quo, and they were asked to investigate. Obama's Justice Department declined to investigate the Clinton Global Foundation. I mean, you talk about being rigged.
Comey stayed away from it too. He wanted nothing to do with it.
And
I really don't. I don't know why they don't investigate. But let me just say. Can I just say something?
Go right ahead, Judy.
I'm serious. I tell you right now, with all of his, few faux pas that he says, whatever, Donald Trump is 1,000 times better than Hillary and this entire corrupt administration.
Okay, fair enough.
I really think so. And I'll tell you something else. Yeah. I don't know. Bernie, I have to tell you, Mark Levin, I am a fan of his. I'm not totally gung-ho, everything 100%. But if you listen to him lately, I am so angry at him, and I'll tell you why. Because Cruz is not on the ballot.
Right.
It's either Hillary or
exactly.
Donald Trump.
So what he essentially is a useful idiot for Hillary because he's not coming out endorsing Hillary Clinton, but is trashing Trump. So if he doesn't have the integrity to select one, in my opinion, I have the right to call him a useful idiot for Hillary.
Fair enough. I think you're right. I mean, and that's you and I talked about that you don't like my choice, but at least I've come out and picked somebody.
Okay. They just cut Judy off, though. I did.
I toyed with going to Gary Johnson, but you and I talked about that. I was watching Congressman Regal from Virginia a couple of days ago extolling Gary Johnson's virtues. He doesn't have a chance. He may not even debate. He may not get 15% just to debate.
He's not going to get it.
Right, so what are you doing? What are you doing?
Sid Rosenberg, at least had the onions and the integrity to select one of the two.
Right.
And I admire that. And the rest of you, useful idiots for Hillary. 1-800-848-9222. Back after this.
The Bernie and Sid Show.
Guaranteed to be enormously successful.
It's about truth, the damn truth, New York's truth, the truth behind the BS. For New York, nothing at all in between. This is Bernard McGurk.
So Bernie.
This is Sid Rosenberg.
The one and only Sid.
Live, local, on it.
You never know what's going to happen.
Exclusively.
Bernie and Sid.
77 WABC.
Woo!
And what you're saying right now makes no sense. I'm sitting at home. I'm watching Donald Trump. I have two ears. I have two ears, and I have two eyes, and I can see the reaction of the people behind me. And I'm not. We're not stupid. Every single person you have on this panel, David Gergen, who's respected by people on both sides, by Republicans and by Democrats, who've worked for Republicans and Democrats, who has worked for a president who's had an assassination attempt, who's lived through presidents who's been assassinated, knew exactly what Donald Trump is saying, and we're supposed to be stupid enough not to understand that and to believe the spin coming from the surrogates and for people like you. You should be ashamed of yourself.
It doesn't make Don. Frankly, I'm ashamed that you're talking to me as if I'm a child when 12 years of my life.
No, you're treating me as a child. Just answer the question. Do you support what Donald Trump said today?
That was an answer to the question. Support
yes or no? Do you support
to vote for Donald Trump?
Do you support what he said today?
Don, people who believe the Second Amendment should absolutely vote against the gun grabber, Hillary Clinton, 100%. And whatever you need to say within the realm of reason to motivate people to get out and vote, yes, you should do that because you will lose your
First of all, that's a talking point to call someone a gun grabber. No one is trying to take your guns. Right. That is a talking point.
Don, you're Captain Talking Point. You're like Captain Talking Point, and then you throw it back at me.
There you have it. Our guest who's on the line here, his name is Dan Bongino, fighting with Don Lemon on CNN, defending Donald Trump. Donald Trump tweeted afterwards that Don Lemon was as stupid as a rock. Don Bongino is a former Secret Service agent. He's running for Congress down in Florida. Welcome to the Bernie and Sid Show on WABC, Don. Dan, excuse me.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey, good to be. Everybody calls me. I'm used to it at this point. He throws everybody off.
He made you sound like one of the capos in Godfather 5, Don Bongino.
Hey, Don,
You know what's crazy, though, guys? People still ask me. They go, "Hey, man, what's your heritage?" I'm like, "Bongino? Really? Like,
come on, really?
If you put that above a pizza place in New York, it would make perfect sense, you know?"
That is crazy. So you're down in Palm City. I just moved up here about 6 months ago, Dan, from Boca Raton. In fact, I became very friendly with Joyce Kaufman. We were on the same station. She worked alongside Alan West. I know that those guys tried to help you out back in Maryland a couple of years ago. But what do you think of living down there in Palm City?
Well, I'm over in Naples now. I have a place in Palm City as well. But Florida is great. I mean, I just heard, I was on hold there, and I was listening to the weather report, and everybody's complaining about the heat. It's going to be 97. It's going to be 100. That's like winter down here.
Yeah.
That's like Christmas time on your porch. It's like 97 at midnight at Christmas down here. So, listen, I don't want to hear it about how it's going to be hot up there.
But then why does everybody flee to Florida? That's exactly why I wouldn't want to live there. I'd rather live in Alaska in the dead of winter than Florida in the heat of summer.
Bernard, it's a ghost town in the summer in the streets.
Yeah,
everybody's inside. Like when you door knock for a campaign, everybody's home. But it's like you see tumbleweeds flowing across the street because nobody leaves the air conditioning.
The AC.
You're afraid to walk outside unless you go to the beach. There's nothing to do. Hey, Dan, first of all, let me and Bernard both thank you for your service being a cop here in New York between 95 and 99, right before, of course, the tragic day of 9/11. Oh, you worked with the Secret Service after that. So even though you won in Maryland and you live in Florida now, you were here serving us and a part of a very, very nasty day back in 2001. So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. That was a tough one as an agent. I was out in the Long Island office when that whole thing went down. I know you guys remember it. It was just like, this can't really be happening. It was just really sad, ingrained in everybody's head forever.
And change the world. Change the world, Dan. Now, listen, you had this now infamous fight with Don Lemon over Trump's Second Amendment comments, which were misconstrued. The media bias is just it's stunning. And it's not even it's worse than bias. It's a full out attack on Donald Trump is what it is.
Yeah, and listen, Bernard, I've seen you on the cable networks. I know you do this. I do a lot of talking head stuff. And I know you've seen what I've seen. It's that these guys and these women, too, that are on these left-leaning networks, they come into the interview with an already preordained conclusion, and then they build the facts afterwards.
Right.
Unlike reasonable people like you and I who say, tell you what, let's collect the facts, and then let's make a sound judgment about what the man thought. When you go into it saying Donald Trump is a violent thug who's going to call for the overthrow of the United States and the assassination of opposition political candidates, you'll just randomly find stuff that makes sense. And this is what makes me want to vomit every time I watch some of these people.
And then in this case, Don Lemon has David Gergen and the lawyer, Jeffrey Toobin. The three of them are of the opinion or the manufactured outrage that Donald Trump implied that Hillary should be assassinated. The three of them against you won. So it's 3-on-1 all the time. That's standard now.
Right, and Bernard, what David Gergen did, which really irritated me. And listen, I don't got any beef against David Gergen, but he's clearly a moderate Republican, almost leaning Democrat these days. He suggested, I'm not making this up, if your viewers watch that whole clip start to finish, he actually suggested, this is laughable, that Trump was giving a dog whistle to Second Amendment supporters about government tyranny. Really? Like, he was suggesting, Donald Trump, that we should all take up arms and overthrow the United States government? I mean, I sat there on the panel.
Unbelievable.
And I thought to myself, this can't really be happening right now. This kind of stupidity is so rare. I should be privileged to be a part of it for this 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Dan Bongino with Bernard and said, well, Dan, you and Bernard are both Trump supporters. I am not. I'm Sid here. I'm a Clinton supporter. But I also think it's ridiculous. I don't think Donald Trump was asking anybody to assassinate her. I do think he meant the power of the Second Amendment. So in this case, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. But if you are a reasonable person, then you'd have to admit that although this thing is a sham and a joke, that along the way he has said things, your inferences don't matter. He has said things time and time and time again that make it easy, not difficult, easy for his detractors to come after him. The question is, when is he going to stop?
Well, listen, I endorse Cruz, so I'm not a Trump surrogate. I'm supporting him now. And I just want to be clear on that, because I've never done any kind of surrogate work for him. I don't communicate with his campaign. My problem, Sid, with what you said, you're right. There have clearly been some imprudent comments there. Is all I'm asking for with people like yourself who support the other side is to apply that same standard, to use your words, of reasonableness to other people. And frankly, Sid, that's not happening with the mainstream media. I don't want to say you. I've just started this conversation a minute ago. But again, when Mrs. Clinton mentioned the assassination of Bobby Kennedy as a reason she was still in the race against Barack Obama in 2008, no reasonable person made a big media stink about it. Suggested Hillary Clinton was calling for a Barack Obama's, God forbid, assassination. But that's not the same standard. And that's the argument.
No argument here. Listen, I agree there's a media bias. I admit that to Bernard every single day. I think it's unfortunate that Donald Trump has to beat that every single day. But we know it exists. He knows it exists. So instead of crying about it, Rudy Giuliani crying about it, he's got to come up with a game plan where he can still win despite the media bias, because crying every single day is not going to get him elected.
Yeah, but Sid, here's my point. There is no game plan to overcome the media bias, because no matter what Trump says, they will dig something out. This is how I started the interview with you guys, when I said, once you have this preordained conclusion that Donald Trump is a raving lunatic, you will find something. That Second Amendment comment was totally, completely manufactured. If Donald Trump was talking about Teletubbies, they would have had
right, exactly.
I mean, this is exactly what they would have done. They would have found a way to make him look like a maniac, and that's the problem I have.
And you mentioned the Hillary talking about Obama getting assassinated. There was no equivocation. There was no misinterpretation. She said that. And Joe Biden in 2008 ran against Hillary and Obama, and they were talking about the Second Amendment, and Biden said this.
I guarantee you, Barack Obama ain't taking my shotguns, so don't buy that malarkey. Don't buy that malarkey. They're gonna start peddling that to you. I got two. If he tries to fool my Beretta, he's got a problem.
How about that, Dan? How about that? Are you kidding me? There's no...
Bernard, the list goes on and on. What about John Kerry?
Yeah, Kerry threatening to kill Bush.
Quayle.
Exactly right. It's just so it needs to be pointed out. I know Sid sees it as whining, but they need to be called out on it. They have to be called out on it, because they're supposed to be the defenders of objectivity and all this nonsense, and yet you had a New York Times reporter the other day urging reporters not to be objective because Donald Trump is so dangerous in his opinion.
I think pointing out is fine. When I say whiny, maybe it's because, guys, my perspective is he's losing. If Donald Trump was up by 10 points and there was media bias, you can come out and say it. But to me, it almost seems like a desperate attempt. He's talking about the election being rigged, the system being rigged, the media bias. It almost sounds to me like a guy that's already making excuses for a November loss.
Right. But Sid, listen, I get that. And I have some objections to a lot of his talk on trade as well. I mean, that's why I was a Cruz guy in the beginning. And that's fair enough. But for this specific thing that happened, I think the right thing to do for credible mainstream media people who may be biased but really are trying to do the right thing. Not all of them are bad. Some of them have a bias, but generally do try to do quality journalism. They should be the ones writing the op-ed, Sid, saying, okay, folks, we have some serious disagreements with this guy. He may have said things in the past, but this is clearly a total red herring. This is nonsense.
Fair.
No serious person believes he was calling for violence. Let's let this go away.
Yep.
Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent, running for Congress down in Florida on the Bernie and Sid show. Dan, you mentioned you had endorsed Ted Cruz. What do you make of Ted Cruz's refusal to endorse Trump, even though he signed the pledge?
Yeah, that was not a good move. I would not have done that. Here's the thing, Bernard. Just don't show up. I mean, I don't understand why you would go there and do that. I mean, it's like showing up to Bernard's birthday party, and lighting a bag of dog.
That's happened to me, by the way.
You know what I'm saying? Just don't go to the party and ruin it for everyone.
That's the issue. It's that he showed up. The signing the pledge is nonsense, because Bernard can talk till he's blue in the face. If, in fact, Ted Cruz would have won, do you honestly think Donald Trump would have been? Of course, the answer is no. So it's easy for Trump to get pissed because he won, but he does not have the makeup or the character to endorse somebody else if he would have lost.
Yeah, and listen, these campaigns always bring out kind of the worst in people. I like Ted a lot. I think he's a solid conservative. I think he's really been great for the cause. I work at a conservative website. He has one of the highest reviews on there. And the bottom line is, I don't want to date the guy. I want the guy to vote right. I don't really care about his personality. Everybody makes mistakes. I think this was one in the long run. But, he has some serious objections to Trump. But again, just, don't show up to the party like the creepy clown, It freaks people out.
Right. Now, listen, as a former Secret Service guy, Dan, the CNN's reporting that the Secret Service actually talked to Trump about his comments on the Second Amendment the other day. And also they're reporting now that they took steps, MSNBC's reporting that they took steps to protect a reporter, Katie Tur, at a Trump rally when, listen, does anybody really seriously believe that at a Trump rally a reporter is going to get roughed up? There's no history of this whatsoever. Is this not designed maybe to embarrass Trump?
Of course it is. Of course. Here's the thing, guys, and this is the important takeaway your audience needs from this. I like Jim Sciutto at CNN a lot. He's a good guy. I like him. He's the one who reported that they took some kind of step to talk to Trump about this. Here's where the miscommunication occurred. I think this was genuinely just miscommunication. If it's a headquarters referral, not to get too wonky, it's a formal investigation into a threat. If it's a Secret Service headquarters referral, that's not what happened in this case. When Sciutto heard that the Secret Service was talking to Trump about the threat, he has a detail, guys. I'm sure he was in the car and someone mentioned it, but that doesn't mean there's some formal investigation going on. And the report was just plain wrong. There's no way this is a formal Secret Service investigation. Zero chance.
Dan Bongino, by the way, not just a really good politician, but you can see why he has had radio shows and TV stuff. You're great, by the way, Dan. But I would ask you this. I know your buddy Levin is also a Ted Cruz guy. And, Cruz is gone. Now, Cruz is gone, so you have gone to Donald Trump, being the fine Republican that you are. But Levin refuses to do it. In fact, a lot of people that I know think that secretly he's going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Will you try to talk some sense into your friend Mark Levin?
Mark's a good man. Mark is definitely not in that boat. I can't speak for Mark. Mark loves Ted. He loves the Constitution. And, our guy lost. That's it. But I know for a fact Mark understands the damage Hillary Clinton is going to do. She is a catastrophe. 100%.
So he won't vote for her?
Oh, no way.
Okay, so who's he going to vote for? Gary Johnson?
Mark, but no way.
Who's he going to vote for? Gary Johnson?
I don't know. I haven't asked him. But I know for a fact he understands the damage a Clinton presidency would do to the United States. It'd be another 4 to 8 years of Barack Obama. And how much more of this can be? I can't understand why you're voting for Sid.
I'll tell you what, Dan, though, the difference between Sid and...
You sound like a really smart guy.
I am.
He is, actually. It's inexplicable, you're right. But he at least has the integrity to pick one of the two instead of saying, I can't vote for Trump, but I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Listen, if you're not voting for Trump, you are essentially endorsing Hillary Clinton. I hate to sound harsh, but I call them a Stalin-esque term, useful idiots for Hillary. And that's what essentially they are. Even my good friend Mark Levin, if he doesn't come out and support Trump in the end, he's actually helping Hillary.
Oh, I love Mark, though. He's really Mark.
I love him too.
Constitutional issues in this country. He's fought so many good fights. Bernard. Listen, there's been a lot of stuff said on this campaign. I have a lot of objections too. If we're going to be conservatives, we have to stick to our principles. But I agree with you. The question now is largely a binary one, and we got to decide what team. But there's no way in Hades he's voting for Hillary. I can't understand why Sid is.
Yeah, Sid is. He's twisted.
I've gone back and forth, Dan. At one point, Bernard could attest to this. I was behind Ted Cruz, John Kasich, Ben Carson, Donald Trump, and it just got to the point with Donald and I think she's corrupt. I don't make any excuses for her. Bernard could attest to that too. I believe she's a liar. I believe she's corrupt, but I'd rather have her. What's that?
You sound like you have an edge, right? How are you going to vote for a woman who's going to take your money, take your health care, screw up your kids' education, grow the government, grow the bureaucracy, who lied to you and lied to the faces of people who lost their kids in Benghazi? I don't understand. Write in Snoopy or Garfield,
and stands for nothing.
Don't vote for her.
I would say this, Dan, that I think a lot of what you just talked about, there are some facts there, and a lot of it is greatly exaggerated. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. And I would rather go with something that I don't think Barack Obama is the worst president ever. I don't think this is the worst 8 years, not of my life. I'm being honest here. And I really believe that if the country stays its course, it could be a lot better off than if Donald takes over, because I believe he could be absolutely catastrophic. I really believe that. I really do.
Yeah, but how much worse do you want it to get?
Oh, it'll get a lot worse. Don't. Hey, Danny, one thing I learned growing up in Brooklyn, the old cliche, it can never get worse. Oh, I've seen things get a lot worse in a lot of situations.
Hey, Dan, before I let you go, we have Neil from Long Beach. He's an MTA cop. He says he was in a classmate of yours from the academies. Hey, Neil.
Yeah, I know Neil.
Neil, you're on with Dan. Say hello.
Hey, fellas. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, Dan, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good. How's everything, bro?
Well, first of all, how are the girls doing? How are you doing? How's everything going?
Yeah, solid, man. Knocking on doors.
I feel like I'm eavesdropping.
But by the way, I'm glad that the world gets to hear what a brilliant mind you have, right? What is it going to take to get you into Congress?
This guy knew me, guys. This guy knew me when I was in the police academy. We had the most interesting police academy class ever. We had some personalities in there where you were like, really? They're going to give this guy a gun and arrest authority? You're like, oh, my gosh, we got to start looking at this background process. Not Neil, but we had a few interesting cats in that class.
Well, listen.
You're giving the exclaimer there. Let me tell you something. Dan was the leader of our company, so he's guilty as charged. He led the crimes and indecencies, by the way. And he's just a natural leader, and he's so intelligent. I can't praise this man enough. And what's it going to take to get this man to
well,
this
listen,
is what we need in Congress.
He's going to win.
Hey, Neil,
he's going to win.
Thanks for the call.
Neil.
Dan Bongino, listen, next time you're in studio with Don Lemon, do what you have to do with this guy, all right? Straighten him out. We wish you the best down in Florida.
And when you're in New York, coming to our studio, we'd love to hang out with you, Dan.
Absolutely.
Great guy.
Yeah, of course. When I guest host, I'll pop in there. I know the studio well. I know exactly where you guys are hiding. So.
Perfect.
Dan Bongino, former
job.
Secret Service guy. I'm with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Back after this.
Bernie and Sid.
Bernie and Sid.
Live, local, on at 77 WABC.
President Obama and Hillary Clinton, the founders of ISIS. They're the founders. In fact, I think we'll give Hillary Clinton if you're on a sports team, most valuable player, MVP. You get the MVP award. ISIS will hand her the most valuable player award. Her only competition is Barack Obama between the two.
That's funny. Donald Trump in Miami Beach doubling down today on the moronic comments he made yesterday. So I get a text a second ago, Bernard, you'll like this.
Brilliant comments.
Hilarious. Regular Don Rickles. So I get a text a couple of seconds ago, right?
Right.
That my daughter wasn't on the bus this morning on the way to school.
Wasn't on the bus?
No, she wasn't on the bus.
Did you panic?
I did panic.
You wouldn't be sitting here if this is not a happy ending.
No, of course. But then I came to the realization that school started this week in Florida. We just spoke to Bongino. We don't start school up here until September after Labor Day.
That's right. We're real Americans.
Right. So my daughter's old school still sends me, I guess my wife didn't tell him, text messages. So the reason why she wasn't on the bus this morning, you morons, is she lives in New York.
Hello.
But I first got it, I go, oh my God, she wasn't on the bus. I go, there is no bus.
It's scary.
You scared me for a while.
I know, you think these schools don't know what the hell they're doing. He's not on the bus. Anyway.
Anyway, Dan Bongino was great.
He was. I liked him.
Good guy. I hope he wins his seat down there in...
Bongino.
Bongino, that's what I said. What did I say?
Bongino.
What did I say? Ham and cheese? What did I say?
You called him Don Bongini, Joe Beningo.
By the way,
John Bon Jovi.
Trump tweeted him a thank you.
I saw that.
After he defended Trump on CNN with Don Lemon. And what do I get?
Remember how mad Bernie was?
What do you get?
I mean, I'm every day. I am, I'm up his butt.
You're on your knees, basically.
And I was just on Fox for an hour earlier this week.
Outnumbered
for a whole hour. I was basically
performing fellatio on Donald Trump.
I went down.
Yes, you did.
I did the whole deal. What do I get? Nothing.
I told you that.
I get squat. He's Dan Bongino. Thank you this. Thank you that. And I feel like from Goodfellas. I feel like Henry Hill's wife while he's out. I'm home with the kids, and he's out banging his whores.
The Gama.
And I'm home alone with the kids. I get nothing. I get no love.
Right.
And that's the way I feel.
And you continue to back this guy.
Every single day.
Well, what do you keep backing him for?
Because I like him.
What do you like about him?
But how about some love?
How about, when I tweet
attention?
When I tweet Hillary Clinton, this is the truth.
He won't even come on the show.
That's right. She gets right back to me. Right away.
He's so full of it.
Well, you want to bet?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Man.
No, but in the still, he hates me.
That's the thing. Trump actually likes me, but obviously he's not going to come out because of you.
No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
But Hillary Clinton, she wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. But
that's fine,
my friend.
I don't care.
You are everything she hates.
I don't want to be. I don't like her. I don't want to be friends with her. I'm just voting for her.
But the thing is, she hates you.
She don't hate me.
Absolutely. Her and her people, her and her PC police media monitor people.
They hate me?
They hate your guts.
That's fine.
I'm telling you.
See, but here's the thing. I'd rather be hated than you. You think Trump's your friend. He acts like you're his friend. And because
he's my boy.
If he does hate me. But he should still come on this show because of your relationship. Because I know when he comes on Imus, you guys talk on hold for a couple of minutes. He's actually said to you, if I'm wrong, correct me, anything you need, Bernard, just call my office.
He said,
okay,
call Hope Hicks and let's get it done.
So why would he say to Hope, listen, I think Sid's an ass, but I'm going to go on the show,
because
chew me out.
They listen and they heard, like you say, Donald Trump's a jerk off.
He is a jerk off.
Some of the language he uses, it's very, very.
All of a sudden, Donald Trump is afraid of language.
All right, you make a good point.
Let him come on and chew me up.
His people probably tell him.
Here's the problem.
Sid has a better body than Bernie does.
Thank you, Tegan.
What happened?
Tegan said I have a better body.
Better body than Bernie
Thank
does.
you, Tegan. See, like Dan.
Sid's got a better body than Bernie does.
Like Dan Bongino just said, you sound like a smart guy with an edge. I think Donald Trump is afraid of me. I'm not Sean Hannity. I'm not gonna say nice things to him. He's going to come on this show.
Listen, man, Trump went on every damn cable news show that would invite him.
And some didn't make him look bad?
Took on every comer.
And how did he do against Chris Matthews?
He took on all comers, man.
How did he do against Charlie Sykes?
The point is, he's not afraid of anybody in the media.
Well, he should be afraid of me. That's why he's not coming on the show.
Bernie, Sid, if Trump came on and said how much...
Bernie.
If Trump came on Bernie's show,
right?
What? Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
And said,
you clean it up in there.
And said how much he loves you and how funny he thinks you are.
About me?
Yes, about you, Sid.
To Bernard, okay.
No, to both of you.
Right.
And Hillary also came on and said how much she can't stand you. Would you then endorse Donald Trump?
Of course not. That would be so shallow and unlike me. All of a sudden, I'm going to like you because you compliment me?
Absolutely.
Hey, Bob from Long Island. Bob, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Bob.
Yeah, good morning. So I got what might be a solution if these two candidates are really patriotic. What they should do is come to an agreement among each other to both drop out for the good of the country, and then they'd be replaced by the runners-up, Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders, and then you really have something where people could really make a real honest decision on.
Hey, Bob, were you on that 3 train smoking crack with that brother?
I don't think they're going to do it, but this is what they should do if they're really patriotic.
All right. Maybe it was maybe it was martinis or something on the Long Island Railroad. Yusef from Middletown, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC.
Honest decision.
Yusef.
Yes.
Lower your radio. You're on with Bernie and Sid.
What up, dog?
Yeah, how you doing? Listen, it is obvious that you guys don't listen to Mark Levin on a daily basis.
Why?
Mark Levin, is a principled conservative.
Wake up!
He already said that that he might as well vote for Donald Trump.
Oh, he has said he's going to vote for Trump?
He will never in a million years vote for him.
No. We know he would never vote for Hillary. We're kidding around, but I don't think he's ever said he's voting for Trump either. I think you're making that up.
No.
What?
Listen to him. He said he might as well.
Wait.
Listen to Mark Levin.
Go ahead,
he might as well. He said it over and over.
He says
he might as well vote for Trump.
Okay.
So you gotta listen to him. He's a principled conservative.
I did.
But now, hold on, Yusef. Now, so listen, are you a Trump supporter yourself?
Well, originally I'm a Democrat, so I don't know. I might end up voting for Trump. I take the same position as Mark Levin. It's a very reasonable, intelligent.
Absolutely. Listen, the guy, he's brilliant. He's absolute. We call him the great one, not for no reason. He's a brilliant man. In fact, when I have conversations with him, I feel so inferior because he is that intelligent. There's no doubt about that. But still, if he didn't come out and say he's going to vote for Trump, I have to call him, with all due respect, a useful idiot for Hillary.
Listen. He said, this is what he said. He said, he's not one of those pom-pom boys that just going to jump and start, and start kissing Trump's behind. Okay, he has a lot of apprehension And I understand. He said he might as well.
No.
In the end, he might end up voting for Trump. I know that for sure. That's what he said. So
all right. Work for Trump even.
You cannot just tell it. You cannot just say that he's going to go for Hillary. You could give Mark Levin the whole money.
Yusef,
he will never.
We were kidding. We were kidding, Yusef.
Hey, Yusef, I love the accent. Tell me where you're from. I love the accent, actually.
I'm from Africa. I'm from Nigeria.
Nice. Nigeria. What did I just watch on the Vice TV in Nigeria? They play.
Get the goddamn Boko Haram. Excuse my language, please.
Yeah,
Boko
bastards.
Those cockroaches.
Those sons of bitches.
Boko Haram, get them out of Nigeria. Please.
I agree. Absolutely. They are terrorists too. They're horrible.
Wait. Michelle Obama has put out a Twitter thing called #FreeOurGirls. So just relax, be patient. They're gonna they're going because Michelle Obama put out that little Twitter picture. Remember that?
Yes. You know what I have to say? All I can say is just smile. So thank you. Thank you so much.
We love you.
You're the man, Yusef.
We love you.
You do. You see that? That's why I love immigrants. I love these people.
Last guy I knew that was named Yusef down in South Florida. His name was Yusef. True story. I don't want to out the guy, but he would show up at a local barbershop every Saturday.
Where is this? Down in Miami?
Down in Florida.
Right.
With an attaché case filled with movies, like DVDs, for like American Sniper before it hit the theaters, for like $3. He'd walk in every Saturday, and he'd sell like 30 movies, and his name was Yusef. That's the last Yusef. Yeah.
Are you sort of profiling guys named Yusef here? Look at that guy. That guy is an asset. He's a great American.
He is.
We want immigrants here. We don't want people coming in who hate us.
What are you talking about? You don't want anybody here. You want to ban everybody.
No, are you kidding me? I'm a son of immigrants.
I understand that.
Listen, I said it before. Instead of having people come in that hate us,
right?
Well, then for every Muslim you ban from coming in, bring in a Hindu Indian or bring in an Arab Christian or whatever it is.
I like it.
Substitute that so nobody can say, "Oh, you're a xenophobe or you're a racist or a bigot or whatever."
So you just don't want Muslims.
I just don't want people.
No Muslims.
You can't really no more right now.
No more right now.
Right now, just put a moratorium on it. Until, as Trump said, we can figure what the hell's going on. Because
what if it takes a long time to figure it out?
We have to keep. We have to save lives here. We have to, if it means, your family's life, isn't it important? I mean,
well, if you believe it means your family's life, of course.
What about the Orlando, San Bernardino?
I think you're being hysterical. Yeah,
the Boston Bombers.
They're from Chechnya. They're from East Russia.
They were Muslims.
No, that's fine, but they're from East Russia.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying. You pick 5 people out of millions.
But you do have the families like the Khan. They produced a guy who was a captain in the army and he died in Iraq.
Right.
That is true.
There are millions of peace-loving, nice people.
As Obama says about gun control, if it saves just one American life, then we have to do it.
So the next time some Russian guy goes berserk in Brighton Beach and murders 3 people, do we get rid of all the Russians?
Get them out.
Okay, fair enough.
1-800-848-9222. Take his coat. Back after this.
Good singer, bro. Hey, check us out on Twitter, by the way, at Bernie and Sid. On Twitter, at Bernie and Sid. At Bernard McGurk, at Sid Rosenberg, and our Facebook page, Bernie and Sid as well.
So wife beaters and the thongs, baby. I mean, the thong slippers, It's going to be great, man. Today, I love this heat wave. Come on, Sid. Enjoy it. Revel in.
No. My ass, it's like I sat in a swimming pool when I got on the beach train.
Well, take a shower, for God's sake.
I got to
put some powder on it.
Powder on the old testes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my God.
Speaking of nuts, Curtis and Kubi up next.